Hey y'all, it's Jessica from Sloppy Swatches. Today I will look at the November 2017 Monthly Awareness Polish Box. This month, 10% of all proceeds will be donated towards the diatribe in honor of diabetes awareness. I will link that down below, as well as the website and storefront where you can purchase this box. It is available right now, and I did buy my box with a blogger's discount, so I'll go ahead and get right into the swatches. So first up is Let's Diabete This, and this is coming from Different Dimensions. This is my very first Different Dimension polish, and I was really blown away by the formula. So this one is described as a carnation pink linear holographic polish with added gold shimmer for a little something special. So here's a quick look at that brush shot, and then I'll show you how Let's Diabete This swatched on my natural nail. So here's a look at that first easy coat. Even with that first swipe, this polish has such intense coverage, really easy to work with, and it has a ton of hollow payoff. I am going to go ahead and complete this coat, let it dry down, and then show you how it built up for me with the second coat. I can maybe just barely make out a nail line, but here's a look at that second coat, and it does for sure bring this polish easily and completely opaque. It might even make that hollow effect just a little bit more intense, so the second coat is worth it in my opinion. So here's a look at that completed mani at 2 coats before a glossy top coat underneath artificial lighting, and you can already see that holographic flare is super strong even under that lighting. But here's the view from another angle in direct sunlight with a glossy top coat, and this is my final swatch photo at an angle in that direct sunlight. So next up is Back to Circulation 101, and this is coming from Rise and Shine Nail Lacquer. This is another new to me brand. So this polish is described as a dark red with gold shift, red shimmer, and gold hollow. So this is a very deep, juicy red. You guys know I love these red polishes, and this one is very stunning. So here's a quick look at that brush shot, and then I'll show you how Back to Circulation 101 swatched on my natural nail. So here's a look at that first coat. This polish is in a bit of a jelly base, so it did start out a little bit sheer for me. I'm going to go ahead and complete this coat. My camera was a little bit shaky about focusing there on that finish. I'm going to let this dry down and then show you how it built up for me with a second coat. So here's a look at that second coat. I did go in maybe for a little bit thicker of a second coat, and it definitely does add a ton of depth and glitter. However, it was still just a little bit sheer for me, so I'm going to go ahead and let that dry and then show you how it built up for me with my third and final coat. So here's a quick look at that. Again, I maybe did go in a little bit on the thicker side, but it does bring this polish completely opaque. It has tons of dimension and depth in there and just a very gorgeous fiery red finish. So here's a look at that completed mani at 3 coats before a glossy top coat underneath artificial lighting. Here's a view from another angle in direct sunlight with a glossy top coat, and then this is my final swatch photo at an angle in that direct sunlight. So next up is Don't Sugarcoat It, and this is coming from Night Owl Lacquer. This polish is described as a medium gray with bright blue shimmer, blue to violet ultra chrome flakies, and bright silver flakes. So really cool finish. Not something I have in my collection anywhere near. So here's a quick look at that brush shot, and then I'll show you how Don't Sugarcoat It swatched on my natural nail. So this is a Crelly formula, so it does start out maybe a little bit on the sheer side, but it's going to add a ton of depth, especially for all those gorgeous flakies. So one coat made for pretty okay coverage. It is quite sheer, so I'm going to go ahead and let that dry and then show you how it built up for me with that second coat. So here's a look at my second coat. I did go in for a little bit of a thicker second coat. If you prefer thinner coats, I think that this is one that's going to need to go in for a third one. However, 2 coats did make for a really nice finish here, and it is completely opaque in just 2. So here's a quick look at that completed mani at 2 coats before a glossy top coat underneath artificial lighting. Here's a view from another angle in direct sunlight with a glossy top coat, so those blue and ultra chrome flakies really pop out there. And this is my final swatch photo at an angle in that direct sunlight. So next up is Diabetes, and this is coming from Pretty Beautiful Unlimited. This polish is described as a light blue hollow base with 2 types of illusion flakes, silver and baby blue hollow micro shreds, crystal flakes, and violet to blue to green shifting pigment. So a lot going on in this one bottle, but they do all work beautifully together. So here's a quick look at that first easy coat. This is in, I would say, a clear base, so it's more on the micro glitter side, but it's not gritty at all. It goes on completely smooth, and you do get a ton of flakes there even in that first swipe. So here's a quick look at my second coat. A careful second coat does bring this polish completely opaque. Again, if you're one who prefers thinner coats, you may like 3 for here, but I'm super impressed with the finish at 2. So here's a look at that completed mani at 2 coats before a glossy top coat underneath artificial lighting, and this polish is going to sparkle underneath pretty much any different type of lighting source that you're going to come across. So here's the view from another angle in direct sunlight with a glossy top coat, and this is my final swatch photo at an angle in that direct sunlight. So next up is Sweet Temptations, and this is coming from Turtle Tootsie Polishes. This polish is described as a black hollow crelly with multiple hollows and matte glitters. So you do get a little bit of those larger glitters here, and it's in a sort of black jelly tinted base, a really cool mix. So here's a quick look at that brush shot, and then I'll show you how Sweet Temptations swatched on my natural nail. So here's a look at that first easy coat. This one does go on a little bit sheer. It is kind of, I would say it's in between a crelly and jelly formula, but it does definitely have that squishy type of feel. So I'm going to go ahead and let that dry and then show you how it built up for me with a second coat. So I did opt to go in for a little bit again of a thicker second coat, but it did bring this polish completely opaque. If you're more comfortable doing thinner coats, I think this is going to be more of a 3-coater for you. But here's the look at that completed mani at 2 coats before a glossy top coat underneath my artificial lighting. I really like that effect of those deeper hollows kind of shining through that black base. Here's a view from another angle in direct sunlight with a glossy top coat, and this is my final swatch photo at an angle again in that direct sunlight. So next up is a Practice Safe Sugar 2, and this is coming from a Sassy Pants polish. So this polish is described as a sparkly holographic micro glitter with a blue micro flakies and assorted holographic red hex glitters, as well as a sprinkling of those red holographic hearts. So what you saw there in the bottle was exactly how it came. I didn't shake it or anything, so those red glitters stay nice and suspended in the mix. So I'm going to show you today how it swatches over black. So this is 1 coat of Tux Polishes Onyx, and then just 1 coat of Practice Safe Sugar 2. So this is a very dense topper. I did get some of those larger red glitters, but the hearts were a little bit more sporadic and hard to come by. So here's a look at that completed mani at just 1 coat over black underneath my artificial lighting, and then here's a view from another angle in direct sunlight with a glossy top coat. I do recommend that top coat, especially if you get any hearts on the nail, to kind of smooth them out. So this is my final swatch photo at an angle in that direct sunlight, and that does wrap up my swatch interview of the November 2017 Monthly Awareness Polish Box. If you're interested in seeing any more photos of any of the polishes featured here today, I do have those available on my blog at sloppyswatches.com. I definitely recommend checking out the MAPB social media to see other amazing swatches from some of the really awesome bloggers that they have. And if you'd like, you can also follow me on Instagram at Sloppy Swatches. So thanks so much for watching, guys. See you next time.